Queen Thalara of the Zyr Dominion was feared across 15 star systems. Her temper was legend, her voice capable of making generals tremble, and her trials for suitors were so brutal that even warlords fled before. The first challenge was over. No one dared to stand before her, let alone try to win her hand. But the truth, whispered only among the palace maidens, was far stranger. Thalara was not angry. She was lonely. Her species communicated emotions through intensity. What looked like rage was simply overwhelming feeling. But no outsider ever understood that. Not one suitor stayed long enough to see past the roaring flame in her eyes. Until a human mechanic arrived on the palace moon. His name was Jaxon Hale, a wanderer whose ship had broken down in Zyr space. He expected a simple repair contract. What he got instead was a room full of guards dragging him before the Queen. "You will participate in the trial of worthiness," the High Minister declared. Jaxon blinked. "Sorry, the what now?" "I was just hired to fix your hypercore." Thalara stepped forward. She towered over him, armored scales glimmering like molten silver. Her voice boomed like thunder. "You dare refuse the honor?" Jaxon did not run. He did not kneel. He simply looked her up and down and said, "Lady, you look stressed." The entire court gasped. A dozen guards drew their weapons. The Queen thrashed her tail, shaking the marble floor. "No one speaks to me that way," she roared. Most beings would have fainted. Jaxon scratched the back of his neck. "Yeah, that's kind of obvious." The Queen froze. No trembling, no stumbling backward, no panicked sprint toward the exit. Just a human, talking to her like she was normal. "You are not afraid?" she demanded. "Should I be?" Jaxon said. "You're yelling, not murdering." Another gasp. The High Minister nearly fainted. Thalara leaned closer, confusion breaking through her flames of emotion. Her rage softened into something curious, almost hopeful. "You look at me without fear," she whispered. Jaxon shrugged. "You look like someone who hasn't had a good day in ever." The Queen's eyes widened. No one had ever spoken to her with such calm. No one had dared see her as anything but a monster. And then came the moment that would change the Dominion forever. Thalara's voice cracked, just slightly. "Why do you not run from me?" And Jaxon Hale, human mechanic, gave the strangest answer a queen had ever heard. "Because someone needs to stay." The court of Zyr had witnessed many things, burning warships, collapsing empires, and cosmic beasts. But never had they seen a human stand calmly before Queen Thalara. Every suitor before him had sprinted away within minutes. Yet Jaxon Hale simply dusted off his shirt and waited as if nothing unusual was happening. This confused the Queen more than any trial ever had.
"Begin the first challenge!"
the High Minister shouted, eager to see the human crushed and the universe return to normal. Thalara hesitated. She could not admit it, but somewhere deep in her chest, a strange flicker sparked, fear that he might leave too, like everyone else. Jaxon noticed her pause. "Hey, if you don't actually want to do this challenge thing, you can just say so." Her head snapped toward him, eyes blazing. "I am Queen. My will shapes the Dominion." "Yeah," Jaxon said, "but even queens are allowed to feel things." No one breathed. The guard stood frozen, unsure whether to attack or pray. Thalara turned away, hiding the tremble in her tail. "Proceed." The first challenge was a test of endurance. The arena's temperature shifted from frozen tundra to scorching. Lava fields within seconds. Any normal suitor would have collapsed. Jaxon did not. He walked through the shifting climates, wiping sweat from his brow. "You know," he called out, "this is exactly what it feels like fixing engines in the Federation docks." Some of the guards exchanged baffled glances. The Queen watched him from a balcony, her claws digging into the rail. Why is he not screaming? Why does he look amused? With each passing minute, her curiosity grew. For the first time, she felt the urge to step closer rather than push someone away. The second challenge began. 6 holographic predators designed to mimic the galaxy's deadliest hunters. They lunged, snarled, and circled. Jaxon did not draw a weapon. Instead, he crouched down. "Ah, so you run on old model projection cores. No wonder you glitch when you turn left." The predators halted. The audience stared as the human reached under one of the holograms and tapped the control panel. The entire simulation shut off with a soft click. "Fixed it," he said. He was sweating, exhausted, and slightly dazed, but smiling. Thalara descended from the balcony, each step echoing like thunder. "Human," she said quietly. Why do you face dangers with calm rather than pride? He looked up at her with a softness she had never seen. Because strength isn't about showing off, he said. Sometimes it's about staying beside someone who thinks no one ever will. Her breath caught. No one had ever said something like that to her. And for the first time in her reign, Queen Thalara felt her rage break, replaced by something far more terrifying. Hope. The third challenge was known across the Dominion as the Shattering Trial, a final test designed not to measure strength, but to expose weakness. Every suitor who reached this stage had failed spectacularly. Some collapsed in fear, others begged to go home. A few fainted before the doors even opened. When Jaxon stepped inside, he expected a maze or a beast. Instead, he found a single throne in a dim chamber, and Queen Thalara sitting upon it. Her armor was gone, her scales dimmed, her posture slumped. She looked smaller than she ever had in public, almost fragile. For the first time, Jaxon saw the truth of the rageful queen. She was alone. Thalara lifted her eyes. Do you understand the final trial, human? No, Jaxon said honestly. But I think you're about to tell me. Her voice was barely a whisper. The third challenge reveals the true nature of your heart. Your fears, your intentions, everything you hide. She paused, claws tightening. If you approach me with even a flicker of deception, this chamber will magnify it. And it will destroy you. Jaxon stepped closer. Then it's a good thing I'm not hiding anything. Her eyes widened. You are not afraid. He smiled sadly. I've been afraid all my life. Everyone has. But fear doesn't mean I run away. Something broke inside her, an invisible wall she had spent decades building. You speak to me as if I am not a monster, she whispered. Because you're not. The chamber hummed, sensing the truth of his words. The walls glowed with a soft, pulsing light, reacting to honesty rather than fear. Thalara rose slowly from the throne. You do not understand, she said. Every suitor wanted my power, my throne, my armies. None wanted me. Jaxon stopped an arm's length away from her. Maybe because they never saw you. She flinched as if struck. See me? I am a being of fury. My emotions overwhelm lesser species. My presence terrifies, and that was when he moved. He stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. A simple human hug. The palace alarms triggered instantly. The chamber shook. Guards sprinted toward the doors. Never, never had anyone touched their queen without permission. Thalara froze, her entire body tense, claws curled, wings twitching. The heat of her scales burned against him. But Jaxon held on. You don't scare me, he murmured. You just feel too much, and that's not something to fear. The queen's breathing changed, slow, shaky, disbelieving. Then gently, hesitantly, she placed her arms around him. The chamber fell silent. The energy softened. The test ended, and outside the entire court heard the final decree as Thalara stepped out with the human, still at her side. This suitor has not won the throne. She paused, touching his hand. He has won my heart,